The grand ballroom of the Bella Vista Hotel shimmered with chandeliers and champagne, but beneath the glitter, something dark unfolded. A sharp cry echoed, not from joy, but from pain. Guests froze mid-conversation as a glass shattered on marble. In the center of the room, a pregnant woman, her silk gown torn, her face red with fresh bruises shielded, her belly trembling as her husband, the city's most powerful billionaire CEO, raised his belt again. And yet, in that suffocating silence of fear and luxury, one voice cut through, firm, trembling but brave. "Touch her again," the waitress said, stepping forward. "I dare you." If this moment already gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and comment. Kindness wins. To support more stories like this one on Everyday Kindness. The gala had begun as a celebration, the annual charity dinner hosted by the Stanton Corporation, one of the most influential companies in the country. Every elite figure in town was there. CEOs, politicians, actors, and socialites. The air smelled of expensive wine, the hum of the string quartet echoing through the chandelier-lit hall. Among the servers was Amara Johnson, a young waitress working double shifts to pay for nursing school. She moved gracefully between tables, balancing trays with a soft smile, the kind that spoke more of resilience than happiness. Her eyes, however, often flickered toward the corner table, where Richard Stanton, the host, sat with his wife Evelyn. Evelyn was radiant, or had been. The kind of beauty that wasn't just in her golden hair or porcelain skin, but in her quiet demeanor, her eyes that seemed to carry an ocean of stories. She was 6 months pregnant, her hand resting protectively on her belly as she smiled politely at guests. But Amra noticed the way Evelyn flinched every time her husband leaned close. As the night wore on, the wine flowed, laughter grew louder, and masks of civility began to crack. Richard Stanton's charm dimmed, his voice sharp. Now, his patience thin. It started small, a snapped command for Evelyn to sit straighter, a grip on her wrist, too tight, a whisper that made her eyes fill with tears. She quickly blinked away. No one intervened. Not the board members, not the politicians. They glanced, then turned away. The Stantons were powerful, too powerful. Amara's heart pounded as she watched from across the room. She had seen this before. Years ago, her mother had endured the same humiliation at the hands of a man everyone respected in public but feared in private. And tonight, it was happening again. Only this time, Amara was not a child hiding behind a door. A sharp crash broke the uneasy glamour. A wine bottle hit the floor, red liquid spreading like blood across the marble. Evelyn lay against her chair, breathless, one hand to her cheek. Richard stood over her, his belt clutched in his hand, eyes blazing. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone whispered, "Is he serious?" Another said, "Don't get involved. It's his business." And just like that, silence returned. Everyone looked away. Everyone except Amara. She dropped her tray, the clatter echoing through the hall. Her feet moved before her mind caught up. She crossed the polished floor, heart racing, and knelt beside Evelyn. "Ma'am, are you okay?" She whispered, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. Evelyn's lips trembled, her breath coming in short gasps. "Please, he'll hurt you too," she whispered back. Amara looked up at the man towering over them. "Touch her again," she said, her voice low but steady. "I dare you." The crowd's murmurs died. Even the violinist stopped playing. Richard froze, his hand mid-air, belt dangling like a weapon. "Do you know who I am?" he growled. Amara's chin lifted. "Yes, and I know what you are." Evelyn's sob broke the silence. Behind them, a few guests started filming discreetly. The tide of fear shifted, subtly, but enough. Richard's power began to crumble under the weight of watching eyes. He tried to smirk, to twist it into a joke, but Amara didn't flinch. Her glare held him like iron. "You think your money makes you untouchable," she said, her voice trembling with rage and truth. "Tonight, everyone sees you for what you really are, a coward who hurts women." The security guards hesitated. They worked for Stanton. But when one of them saw Evelyn clutch her belly in pain, something changed. He stepped forward. "Sir, you need to calm down," Richard snapped. "You're fired." But the guard didn't move. Neither did the others. One by one, guests started to speak. Soft voices at first, then stronger. "She's right. This isn't okay. Call the police." Amara helped Evelyn to her feet, her arm steadying the trembling woman. "You're safe now," she whispered. "He's not touching you again." Evelyn broke down in her arms. It wasn't just pain. It was years of silence cracking open at last. By the time police arrived, Richard's charm was gone. Cameras flashed, and his empire began to crumble before his eyes. But Amara didn't stay for the chaos. She sat with Evelyn in the ambulance, holding her hand as sirens wailed through the night. Later, when Evelyn was safe in the hospital, she told Amara the truth. For years, she had lived in fear her husband controlled everything. Her accounts, her movements, her reputation. She had tried to leave before, but no one believed her. And then, Evelyn said softly, "You looked him in the eye." And suddenly, I remembered I wasn't weak. Weeks later, news outlets ran the headline, "Waitress saves billionaire's wife." The night silence finally broke. Amara returned to her modest apartment to find an envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a letter from Evelyn. It said, "You showed me what courage looks like when everyone else chose silence. You saved 2 lives that night. Mine, and my child's. I've started a foundation for women trapped like I was, and it bears your name, the Amara Project." Amara sat quietly, tears falling onto the letter. She never did it for fame. She did it because she knew what it felt like to be invisible, and she refused to let another woman feel that way. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like, comment Kindness Wins, and subscribe to Everyday Kindness, where real stories remind us that bravery still exists in everyday people. Sometimes, it takes just one voice, trembling but unyielding, to shatter an empire of cruelty. One act of courage can change not only a single night but countless lives beyond it. Because kindness isn't weakness, it's power, the kind that heals, protects, and inspires. And in a world where silence often hides behind fear, be the one who steps forward.